Hi, I'm Mimi, and welcome back, or welcome to Mimi and More. So let's talk about Warsaw, shall we? All right, I'm going to jump right into it, and you can follow along on the screen. So we were in Warsaw for 23 days, and we do try to follow a budget of $165 a day, roughly. What it amounts to is $5,000 for every month of travel. So our first thing is our accommodation, which is always probably the highest spend that we have. And this time around, we had an Airbnb in the best part of Old Town. We could not have asked for a better location. Honestly, it was smack in the middle of Old Town. We would come down the stairs, there were restaurants everywhere, the supermarket was a block up the street. If we went 3 blocks, there was another big, huge supermarket. Everything that was there that we could possibly need. And it was very easy to get around within Old Town and also within just wandering around Warsaw itself. So our accommodation was $1,551.53. So it's roughly about $67 a day. It keeps us right in budget as to how much we want to spend for an Airbnb. So we're very happy with the accommodation. I did a whole video about that Airbnb, and I'll put a link down below in the description, but it was a great place to stay. Next thing is transportation. So our transportation costs were $352.23, and that does include the amount that I allot from our flight to get to Europe from the US. So there's a certain amount allotted towards that trip, and then the rest was Ubers that we took. Ubers in Warsaw were very, very inexpensive. We did walk quite a bit, but there were places that we wanted to visit that we did jump in an Uber to. And then when we left Warsaw, we headed off to Krakow, where we took a train. But anyhow, $352 for our transportation costs. Next cost, our groceries. So we spent a total of $346.86 for groceries. We cooked in quite a bit. We had a great kitchen where we were. So, I mean, that averages, about $115 a week, which is not that bad. So we were very, very happy with the price of food there. The groceries were relatively inexpensive, especially we had just been back in New Jersey prior to being in Warsaw, and we had like sticker shock for the 5 weeks that we were home as to how much groceries had gone up since when we had left in January. So we were very, very happy with the cost of groceries. Next is restaurants, eating out. We did spend a whopping $638 to eat out. So if I haven't mentioned it before, I am partly of Polish heritage. So I was very happy to see that pierogies were everywhere in Poland. I could have them every day if I wanted. I did have a little favorite place that I went to for the potato pierogies, but I tried them in a lot of other places too. We tried kielbasa when we were there. We ate a lot of sauerkraut. We tried the goulash. We tried the Zurich, which is the rye soup that comes in a bread bowl, which I really liked. It has sort of a soury cabbage taste to it, and it has chopped up pieces of kielbasa and potatoes and some other veggies in it. It was really, really good. So we did our fair share of eating out, but the food was super, super good in Warsaw, and I would highly recommend it. So there you go, $638 on food. So next we have bread and pastry. So as you know, Raphael gets a bread and pastry account, of which he spent a whopping $172. Now, how could you possibly spend $172 on bread, I ask? So I did just do a quick check before I jumped on this video. Some of my sweet treats were in there as well. So I developed this affection for blueberry gelato, which they had in this one gelato place, which was like catty corner across the street from where we were staying. And I found myself wandering there. I would go like once every other day and get a small cup of the blueberry, and then I would eat half of it, and I would save half of it for the next day. But so I did eat quite a bit of gelato while we were in Poland, and I've never had blueberry gelato that tasted that good since. So I'm gonna leave it there. The other thing that they had were waffles that would be covered with whipped cream and strawberries. and or ice cream. So I did a couple times indulge in the waffle experience, but other than that, it was bread and whatever pastries and kind of sweet treats that we were buying. They have great donuts there as well. So anyhow, what did the pastry about? $172. So next on the list would be, we did have a little coffee budget, so we spent $38 on cappuccino here, latte there, so $38 for coffee. On personal care, it was a total of $22.28, and that's just probably for some body wash or shampoo or something that I picked up along the way, nothing too great to speak of. And then sightseeing, we spent $87.63. So we did see a tremendous amount in Warsaw. We did do a walking tour for like the second day that we were there. We always like to start a new city with a walking tour. It gives us a good history of the city, of the country, gives us a lay of the land. And then a lot of museums have free days in Warsaw, so we really took advantage of that. We tried to go to whatever free day it was for that particular museum, and we were able to take advantage of that quite a bit. We did go to the Jewish Museum in Warsaw, which was very emotional, very moving. I highly recommend it. We were staying right down the street practically from another exhibit called Warsaw Uprising, which was about the uprising during World War II by the Polish people towards the end of World War II, actually, and it did not end successfully for the Polish people, but it was very interesting to learn about it. There was so much Polish history that I was able to learn in Warsaw that I had no idea had taken place in World War II. So I felt very connected with Warsaw, with Poland, and I learned so much Polish history when I was there and so much World War II history. I am not a war buff at all, but it was just very interesting for me. So I think that covers all the categories, and I don't think you've been adding up as I've gone, but our grand total was, drum roll, for 23 days, we spent a total of $3,333.70. So it wasn't bad when you consider that our budget for those 23 days, using that $164.38 budget, was actually $3,780.74. So the math is kind of easy. We had a savings of $447.04. So I'm going to round it up for the sake of it sounds better, and I'm going to say we saved $450, which was amazing. We were really so over budget when we did Puerto Rico, a little over budget for the cruise. I'm not going to even share you a video of how much money we spent when we were home. We learned that you can blow through a lot of cash when you're home, even if it's for a short time between renting a car and accommodations and all. I revamped my whole wardrobe. So anyhow, very happy with what we spent or didn't spend, as the case may be, in Warsaw. I would highly recommend a visit to the city. You obviously don't have to stay for the 3 weeks that we did, but even a couple of days, it was great. We enjoyed the city. It's brand new. Like, unbeknownst to me, Warsaw was virtually the entire city was destroyed during World War II, and it has been completely rebuilt. The old town has been rebuilt to historical specs, I guess I'll call it that. So it looks old, but it was really redone in the 50s, so not even 100 years old. So I highly recommend Warsaw, not just because it's inexpensive, but just because it's a great city in Europe. I feel like Central Europe is a little under-visited, which is great. It kind of makes up for the cities that are over-toured right now, but yeah, it's a very wonderful place to visit. So yeah, so that wraps up our budget, our costs for 23 days in Warsaw, Poland. I really hope you'll consider it, and I really hope if you like this video that you would consider subscribing or giving me a thumbs up if you liked it. New content coming as fast as I can, and I wish you a great rest of your day. I wish you joy. I wish you fun travels, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.